All right, Katie, you've been with me for quite some time now. Like, how long have we been working together?
I'm trying to remember. I feel like we started in a March, so uh, not this last March, but the March before that.
You won like the my first scholarship. Well, not my first scholarship. You won my second scholarship ever.
Yes, that's true. Your very first one, and it was a total, just like I don't know. It was just to me God because it was just a funny story. I don't know if we have time for me to tell the story, but
Oh yeah, tell us like for anyone that's watching, like tell us where you were when you saw that scholarship post and like what you were thinking and stuff and what made you like sign up for that.
yeah. So I don't know. I was in a season where I've been living overseas for like 15 years, and my weight has definitely fluctuated up and down for all that time. And I don't think you have to live overseas for weight to fluctuate. But as far as like things that are at your disposal, gyms or protein shakes or, all those things, like it's been a little bit up and down for me. But you know, back in that season, February, March of 2023, I was really feeling, like I was at my peak outside of like being pregnant, like the heaviest I'd ever been. And, my clothes were getting extremely tight. I really, at that point was wearing a size 12 pair of pants. And I was just like, I can't even wrap my head around this. And, but just feeling like just really disgusting about like the way I felt, the way I looked. But then also just in my life, I just felt kind of like things were a little bit, nuts, and I needed something to kind of like bring me back to focus, something to discipline me. Discipline's always been kind of my not strong suit. Like there's all sorts of different characteristics, that are good for us, and discipline is a good characteristic for people to have, especially people that are like operate in leadership roles.
Yeah.
But that one's always one I always have to like really work on. And so I was just like, God, I know this is still something in my life I really need to be helped in, and like to learn discipline. I need something to come in here and help me. Like if I don't like where I am right now in physically and in my health, but also these other things. But Lord, if you can help me out to figure this out. And like honestly, while I'm still having this conversation with the Lord, I see your advertisement for a scholarship,
Yeah.
and I was like, and we've been following each other for a while, and and I've been seeing your stuff, and I never thought it was possible because you're in Mississippi and I'm living in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, but then I just like decided, it's like, is this possible internationally? Can like you help me, overseas? And you're like, absolutely. I was like, really? Okay. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna put my name in here, and it was really just my fleece before the Lord. I was like, God, if you can really help me in this, like I'm gonna take this seriously. And anyways, and so lo and behold, apparently like a ton of people applied.
Yeah, I had
But
like over 100 applicants. It was crazy.
so not that I'm saying that the Lord didn't want them, but whatever. It was a special gift for me. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
love that. Like, have I ever shared with you what happened on my side as I was going
You
through the
did, but
applicants and stuff?
you did tell me whenever I had my first like call with you, but feel free to share if you want
So
to.
yeah, because I didn't learn that you had gone through that until a little bit later, like what the Lord was taking you through and like how you're praying about it and stuff. But I was looking at all the applicants and gosh, I was like going through the spreadsheet and stuff, and I was like, okay, this person, like I was Xing off people and stuff, and then I feel like a judge and jury here. This is not fun. This is not a fun position to
Mhm.
be in. Now I keep going, down to 20, down to 10, down to 5, and then I'm like, I just keep looking, and then I'm battling, trying to make a right decision. And then I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, God, I need you to help me here. So I was like,
Uh-huh.
Lord, help me. And he said, Katie, like I saw your name just light up. He was like, give it to Katie. And I was like, okay, all right, done. And then he's like, this is a first installment on many that are going to be from the ministry that you're going to help. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
So I gave you 3 months, I believe it was 3 months of coaching, right? For free.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so I have to invest, I have to give. Like it's almost like I was sowing a seed
Uh-huh.
into into that, like into that
Hmm.
promise. And then on the back end of it, like and we can get into that maybe, but like there's been so many people that's come from your testimonials
Mhm.
that's just like come and started working with me and are seeing great results. So it's like God is, for anybody watching, like the Lord works in small ways. If you just follow those little bitty prompts, like whatever it is
Right.
in front of you, it might be scary. It might not
Mhm.
make sense. It might be like, what is this it? Like, can't, like you said, can I lose weight internationally while with an online fitness coach? Can I develop disciplinary skills? Can I do these things? Like, and the Lord likes questions. So,
Uh-huh.
so yeah, that's cool. Um,
Exactly.
so tell me, like, where were you exactly physically, and then what have you seen so far, like on your journey?
So when I started this, I think I was like at 182 pounds. Just mind blowing. I remember actually the day I sent you, you asked for photos, because there's like you kind of keep up with progress photos so that you can see the difference. And I remember taking those for the first time, and I was just wearing like a sports bra and some underwear or whatever, and I sent them to you. And I remember telling my husband, I was like, Chris, I'm just gonna let you know, but I sent pictures of myself in my underwear to another man. But I promise you, it wasn't sexy. Honestly, it was like a total, like, oh my gosh, like motivator. I was like, is this really what I look like? And
Yeah,
then
now
like,
for everybody, just a quick pause. She did not text me photos. She uploaded those into her own profile,
yes,
the app. So it's not like that. It's not weird, I promise.
it is not weird. It's been very professional, but it was kind of funny. Like the first time you do that, you're like, huh, like,
Yeah, I remember the same thing with my coach. I was like, oh, progress photos, yay.
no, like, and I honestly, it wasn't until kind of like starting that process. I never really paid attention to like where the places that I really carried weight. And man, I was like, man, I really carry my weight in my back. Like I was on my back, I felt like I was like a linebacker, like it was crazy. And so yeah, 182 pounds. And through this whole entire journey, I mean, it is like what I love about this is that um there's accountability. It's like if you're buying in, if you're making the investment, then you're more likely to like stick to it. And that really was a big, huge motivator for me, where I'm just like,
100%.
I'm paying for this, so I better get up my butt and do it. But also I was motivated. I was just like, that's it. Like I'm shifting, I'm making this change, like I'm done. And honestly, like I used to say these things about the gym. I used to make comments because I am actually like a really active person, anyways. I've always been really athletic and like I like to just be active and do things and play games and sports. Even now, I still like that. Um, but I'd always used to make this comment about the gym, saying like, I really hate the gym. I'm just not a gym person. So now that I'm signing with you, like you were like, lift weights, like, and there's so many things that I've learned through all of this. Like you will not burn fat unless you are gaining muscle, unless you're building muscle.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so you're like, massive into weight training. And so I find myself at the gym. And I remember the first few times going, I'm just like, oh, what I love is that I go in, like I have my plan, like I know what I'm supposed to do.
Mhm.
So that really just kind of helped me. And it wasn't more that I didn't like the gym. I just didn't know what to do at the gym. And, unless I'm going in there and I have my instructions and it's super easy to follow and you have it all ready for me and for me to also keep up with what kind of weight I'm using and whatever instructions that I need to have are like right there on this application. And so going into it like that, I was like, I felt good. I felt, I didn't feel insecure. I didn't feel like embarrassed to go in there and just kind of like roam around looking at machines going like, okay, what do I do next?
Yeah.
Or whatever. But actually it's like really shifted for me where I love going to the gym. It's like I find that it's like it's a time for me. It's a time for me to just have to myself and focus on like, and I'll like listen to stuff and work out and just do my thing while I'm there. But the process has actually been kind of funny where I have definitely, I've lost a lot of inches. I would say that, like there's been a constant conversation between you and me, like you can't look at the scale so
Yeah.
much, like, because if I look at the scale, I could find myself getting discouraged. Though I have met all my goals. I remember my original goal, what was it? I said, I want to comfortably fit into a size 8. And then I
Mhm.
think I said I wanted to be in the 160s. I don't remember if I said 160 or 165. And I have achieved both of those things. But for me, like I was like, I've lost a lot of weight. I'm fitting into like I'm actually fitting into size 6 to size 8. Like so I'm very comfortable in
Yeah.
size 8, but I can also fit into a size 6. And but like it's like the scale, like there's like
And you were a size 12, is that right?
yeah, I was a size 12 when I started it. And that was kind of that peak. I was like, how the heck am I in a size 12? I never in my life would have ever thought I would ever be in a size 12. And I was just like, whoa, this is what kind of person do I want to be in this next half of my life, like not
Mhm.
like that. But yeah, but like as I'm losing inches, the scale's not necessarily going anywhere, not necessarily because I'm like I'm building way more muscle. And
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
it's just definitely just like been evening out. So I do it. It's like a mental game, like we've had this joke where I was like, I want to be like in the 150s. Like I was like, like secured in the 150 pound range, and I'm like, maybe it's just not possible for me. I'm not saying it isn't, but like I've worked so hard, but I feel like I keep losing inches, but I'm still sticking at like 160, 161, 162, but my clothes are fitting better, and all of that because I'm turning into solid muscle more so. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. I love that you brought that out because that's what a lot of people struggle with is when they're losing weight and they maybe have started lifting weights, which also a
Hmm.
ton of people don't do that. But when you start lifting weights, you're going to have more of a recompositioning effect than anything else. So your body fat goes down, your muscle goes up. So body fat percentage goes down,
Hmm.
right? So that's
Yeah.
great. And so on the contrary, what people do when they lose weight so rapidly, but they don't gain muscle, they don't work out or anything like that. When you lose weight, you could go from 200 to 160 as an example, but your body fat percentage actually goes up.
Hmm.
So the scale weight's down, but your muscle mass is also down, and your fat mass is still it's more on your skeletal system than anything else. So it's your body fat percentage is either the same or higher.
Right.
And so that's
Right.
not really a healthy place. So where you're at, you've built so far, you've met all your goals. You went from a 12 to a 6, and you fit comfortably in an 8, but you can also fit in the 6. And
Hmm.
you're feeling firmer and all that stuff. And yeah, so I guess how do you feel?
I feel good. And also just on the discipline, like I've really, it's spilled over into other parts of my life, where I've gotten back on track. And, the life that we lead here is, I don't have a 9 to 5 job. It's very, you know, sometimes all day, I have to I'm what do you call it? Self-motivated. Like it's a self-motivated job,
Yeah.
and and self-scheduling and organizing your life. And so it really does, that type of lifestyle really does require lots of discipline, because I have to discipline myself to make sure that like all the T's are being crossed and the I's are being dotted, but I don't have a work schedule to do that. It's all just random.
So it's safe
Um,
to say that like you investing in your health and wellness has increased productivity across the board.
yes, yes, for sure. And then I just
You
feel better
guys,
too.
just for the people watching, you guys like I don't know if you can speak about the the ministry side or not, but if you can, you can't like go ahead. But if not, I don't know. But
Yeah,
you
no,
guys
I
run a
mean,
business and just kind of tell everybody like what you guys do on a day-to-day basis because you do a lot.
yeah, we do a lot. Our lifestyle is very much, I mean, we're, followers of Christ, we're followers of Jesus Christ. And we believe that he is living an active 100%. He is, it is a relationship. He is speaking, he is calling. He is, like it says that, we are his handiwork, and he has predestined good works for us to do in it, in advance, and there's things that God has
Yeah.
called us to do, purposes. He has that for all of us. If we choose to have a life and, to go after those things, and to be that light, that city on a hill that cannot be hidden. But it's, the kind of like the calling of Jesus in my life started back when I was a kid. I was like 9 years old, and God spoke to me and says, Katie, like I'm gonna have you live in other countries. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And then confirmed later on, and that when I was in high school by our youth pastor, and he was just like, like God is calling you to live in other countries. And I was like, yes, that's true. Like God already spoke that to me. So it was a confirmation. Uh, but yeah, so that has been our life. And we're just like, Lord, for me and my husband, we're like, whenever you say it's time to go, like you'll tell us where and how and when, and so we're actually in our third country now. We've lived in Uganda for 5 years, Kenya for 2 years, doing leadership development and community development. But we were starting to feel like the Lord was saying, like shifting us out of the, we were just in East Africa, but out of the African context. And we're like, okay, Lord, what do you want us to do next? And God had already been putting on our hearts about doing business. And at first we were thinking that was going to be in an African context. Lo and behold, the Lord was calling us to start a business here in Sarajevo. And like, we're here because this is where Jesus has told us to live. But we're firm believers in the church. We're firm believers in making disciples. So, but we are investing in this economy. We are creating jobs. We have a skate shop here called Skate Sarajevo. But we are very passionate about his church and building his church. So, and we love youth, we love teens. And so we, started a youth group. We saw that hole that there was, for the Christian believers that are here, that, for the teenagers, there wasn't anything for them. And it's so important to have that community at that age. So we started that. And then in the last year and a half, we started an international church here in Sarajevo. So, so between the business and youth ministry and the church, it's a lot. They're all separate things. Like the business is the business.
Yeah.
And it's a way for us to live here and have a visa, but just because you're working in a job doesn't mean that that negates you from, there's also ministry opportunities and, in ways that we can love on people and encourage other believers and then also, share our faith. So these are all just different avenues that we have to do that here in Sarajevo. And, if people are open to it, amen, praise the Lord. But we're just going to love people regardless, and just live out our faith and be generous with our life. That's what, that scripture verse about being the light of the world, don't hide your light under a bushel, we're supposed to shine, but how do we do that? We be generous with our
That
life. And
actually
so
went through my mind like this morning. I was on the treadmill and I was
uh,
thinking about that specific scripture this morning.
really,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's like my life verse, but I really like the message version because I'm also like, I love art. I'm an artist. And so it says, like, here's another way to put it. We're here to be light, showing the God colors in this world. And
Oh,
so,
I love that.
yeah, I really love that too. And, we're, when you're really invested, like if you're not really salty, then you're not living up to the potential of what we're, of the life that the Lord really called us to. Like
Yeah.
if you're not full of that flavor, if you're not full of that color, if you're not full of that light, then why bother? So if you're just kind of in the middle, you're missing out on a lot of really cool, awesome, like life moments and times and feelings. It's not blissful all the time, and as believers, we have those struggles, we have those hard times, but there's purpose and there's meaning behind it all, and that's what I love about it. I love, that Christ brings meaning to our circumstances, the good ones and the bad ones. And,
Yeah.
and it's just really powerful. So yeah, so we're here in Sarajevo of all places.
Sarajevo. I'm working on pronouncing it better. I want to segue just away from fitness for a second and just keep talking about your ministry there. So tell, like, just for anyone watching, like, how long you've been doing it and what growth you've seen. Like, did you guys start from the ground up? Like, and then how much growth have you seen there in the ministry?
In Sarajevo?
Mhm.
So we came here like knowing that we were going to do business, but we didn't know what, at that point, it was just really huge, like just leaps of faith, and, I love the idea of like coming into a place and like, like investing, like making a dent, making an impact, like bringing something of value, to wherever you live and,
Yeah.
and are operating. And, but what that was going to be, we weren't sure. And, we came here and we just kind of got plugged in all the places that we could plug in and serve and volunteer and like started to try to learn the language. And Bosnian is super hard. I'm still working on it. So, but we started Skate Sarajevo. So the Lord really led us into doing, skateboarding, roller skating, inline skating, scooters, all the equipment, all the apparel that goes with that. But we're kind of like in a 3-phase plan. We just started with the skate shop, and then we're going to work toward adding an indoor skate park. And then the ultimate goal is an indoor roller skating rink. And so those are kind of like the 3 phases that we're working toward. And so we're still, we're 2 years in, a little over 2 years in on the shop, and retail is not for the faint of heart. And then even on top of that, just doing business in Bosnia is not for the faint of heart. Love this country, but their laws for business owners is the worst. I mean, literally everything is stacked against the person who's owning the business. And so, and also like working toward always trying to do things with integrity. They really make it hard to do that. Most people that own businesses do things under the table. They cheat the system. They don't pay the taxes because it's almost impossible to like keep up with it. But we're really like, we will always, follow the law and do things above board and not, pay bribes or do anything like that. And so, but they do make it extremely hard, but it's actually been really cool. Like we've met so many new people through with the business, and the whole skating community is like super interesting and really awesome. And, so we're excited to kind of really push that, more. And then, Sarajevo hosted the Winter Olympics back in 1984. 82 or 84? I'm thinking it's 84. But they really, the Olympics is like, there's history here with the Olympics. It's also like, it's still like really like something that it's like really proud of, and and like celebrated. And now skateboarding is an Olympic sport. So we're hoping that we can kind of like bolster that a bit more here. And like, because it's, it'd be really cool to be a part of, helping develop a skater that could eventually, qualify for the Olympics. How neat would that be?
Yeah,
So
that'd be awesome.
yeah. But just, also just that activity, activity in itself, sport in itself, just, whatever we can to, put that forth. But yeah, the business has been really amazing, and, we've really been able to connect with a lot of people, through that. And it's been neat. Yeah. So, there's, the business and the youth group and the church are separate things, but it's been cool to see like, many times how they've overlapped, and
Yeah,
so.
So you guys started there, and you have a business, and you've also started a ministry. So all that from scratch.
Oh yeah. Everything's from scratch.
It's all
Everything like
fully
that.
functioning, and you've got your husband working really hard.
Yes. Yes. We're both working really hard, but yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody's ever like listening to this and you feel like called to live overseas, and you feel like the Lord's leading you, like feel free to like reach out. We could really use some help over here.
They're cool. No, I've known you for a long time. Like we've worked together, but I've known you in ministry for a long time. And so anyway, it's always been a blessing to see you and Chris just be amazing. So last thing. All right, for anyone who's kind of on the fence, with kind of joining with what I do with online fitness coaching, fitness and nutrition coaching, if anyone's on the fence, what would you say to them? They're kind of thinking about doing this, or they're not really sure. Like, what would you say?
I would say, I know it may sound scary, and you'd be like, oh, like, can I pull this off? You can make sacrifices to make it happen, and, I mean, you will have results. If you put in the effort, you will find the results there. And like, and it's not just about like, your health and losing weight. It's way more than that. Like it's mentality. It's, it's your emotional state. It's your, your spiritual state. Like when I was talking about, like, even like just like developing those disciplines. And also, that's what I really love about David. Like, there's a lot of these goals where it's like, like, and you have this community of people that are helping you like along the way. And they're like, check, I drank my water, check, I read my Bible, check, I got my steps, And so it's like, there's a lot of people in this community that are in it together, and wanting to not just grow and have a physical change, but also like that emotional, spiritual, and mental change at the same time. And so it's way more than that. And then a lot of times, like you may have an idea, it's like, well, I can just do this on my own. Let's just be real. Are you really going to do it on your own? Probably not. So,
I totally agree
having a
with that.
coach is, it will give you that leg that you need to actually like stick with it. And so, like I said, like when you're like really invested, especially with our money, then you're going to stick with it and you're going to do what you got to do. And let me tell you what, it's not, I mean, it's a sacrifice, and you have to like put yourself and like get yourself to the gym, and like there's other steps you have to do, but at the same time, like this is sustainable. This is like, like you set up these habits, during this time, and you meet your goals, and like, yeah, I'm about to get launched into like, okay, maintenance, like because I've met all my goals, and I'm moving on from needing like weekly training from David. But it's sustainable things. Like I'm not keeping myself from bread. I'm not keeping myself from eating a cookie if I want a cookie. Like it's all about moderation. It's all about like, oh, if I have the calories, then I'll eat the cookie. Like,
Yeah.
and so I'm not depriving myself from anything. And so that's what I've also really loved about it. And it's just normal common sense, diet and exercise. So
I love it. So we didn't take away the cookies from you.
you didn't take my cookie.
Good. Awesome. Well, Katie, thank you so much for sharing all that. I know it's going to be a blessing to people for sure because it went in different areas than I expected. So I think it's great. I love it. So yeah, if you are watching and you're curious and all that, all you have to do is you have two options, really. I mean, you can go option A and you can try to just implement stuff on your own. And we've all been there, done that. And I have probably 10 t-shirts where I've tried. Or you have option B, where you can, in the description below, you can book a call and we can just chat and see if we're a good fit and all of that. We can do a strategy call, all the stuff, and then we can go from there. At the very least, you will leave with a good strategy plan. At the very most, you can leave with me in your pocket, so to speak. So, anyways, do that, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks. Peace.